Welcome to another video. We're going to be working on the Dodge again today. I'm going to be replacing the upper and lower control arms on the front axle. As I may have mentioned in a past video, the bushings are really old and rubber and worn out. So yeah, we're going to get started on that. So I don't know if you can tell, but my driveway has a little bit of an incline to it, which in terms of jacking up a vehicle, I'm not super stoked about, but some precautions I have taken. The truck's in gear, parking brake is on, and I've put some wheel chocks under both rear tires. So anyway, that's just some precautions that I'm taking with that. The other thing is, if you're working on a vehicle in the driveway, get yourself some of these like foam mats. They actually kind of like are puzzle pieces that go together, and they make working in the driveway and having to like be on the ground much more comfortable. All right, let me show you what I'm working with here. So this jack is maxed out in height, and I am jacking up on the frame here because this truck has a lot of clearance. It's just pretty high up, and so I'm maxed out on the height, and the tire's not off the ground yet. The reason why I'm jacking up from the frame is because if I want to work on the axle, I don't want to jack up the axle and have that holding all the weight, because when I pull the control arms off like that, it can move. So yeah, I think I might need a lift for this. Man, so much of the time when I go to like work on a vehicle, particularly if it's something I'm doing for the first time, the first time you sit down and actually get into it is the first time you really look at it and be like, what is it actually going to take to do this? And you realize that you don't have the things to do it, or you need something else that you don't have. And this is kind of a classic situation I've run into quite a bit, where I'm like, okay, I need to recalibrate, and I try something else. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, I had an idea. So I realized if I jack up under the pumpkin here, under the differential, I can lift this front tire off, and then I can unmount it, and then I can lower kind of the whole front end, lower without the tire on there, onto the jack stands on the frame behind this, and that should get me the weight off the axle and lower the whole thing to the point where I can set it on the jack stand. So that's what I'm gonna try and do. All right, well, I got it on the jack stands. The axle is pretty low to the ground. I don't like this. I don't like how extended these jack stands are. I feel like I'm kind of playing a little bit with risk, especially if I need to get under there. It's super low to the ground now. It's actually kind of hard to work on. Yeah, I think I might need to go back to the lift plan. All right, so change of plans. I was able to borrow these 6-ton jack stands from my neighbor. And so these are a lot more sturdy and wider. I just kind of feel better about using these and extending those little ones way out. So I'm going to lift it here in the driveway and go from there. All right, I got that heavier duty one in there. I feel way better about that. I made a mark on that alignment bolt there, so I would know what position. There are kind of marks on it, but I just wanted to make my own. All right, so I got this nut loose on the front bolt on this lower control arm, but the thing is pretty seized in there in the bushing. So I'm gonna try and twist it a little bit from the other side with a wrench, but yeah, I've been hammering on it a little bit. It's not moving. All right, so I noticed a few things on this bolt. First of all, here's this alignment adjustment washer. You can see there's a flat side on one side of it. And so that actually fits over this bolt in a very specific position, and it can't turn because of that. And so these new bolts that I bought are not that. They're not the same thing. So I guess I'm pretty hesitant about cutting through this. I think at this point, because this bolt is seized in there, into this bushing that's in, or this sleeve, metal sleeve that's inside the bushing. If I was going to cut through right here to kind of cut through that bolt and remove this, if I do that, I need a new one of these bolts, and this is not a replacement for that. So I need to figure out where I can get those, or I need to heat this up to preserve this bolt. And there's also one of these, but it's on the other side, but this is attached to the head of the bolt. It's part of the bolt on the other side. So yeah, this is definitely not a standard bolt. All right, I'm back. It's another day, and let me show you what we got going on here. So I had to order these bolts. I actually went to the dealership and they told me they're not available anymore. So I had to order these on Rock Auto. Thankfully, those are still available. And I went and bought myself some 6-ton jack stands because I just needed my own, and borrowing my neighbor's was not going to work long term. And so yeah, I think we're ready to take these out and cut out those frozen bolts in there. So look at how rotten that rubber bushing is. That is just like chunks falling out of it. So it's definitely a good thing we're replacing these. Now to the fun part, cutting that bolt. All right, back with a new straight blade. Let's keep going. We're about halfway through. So I think we might be through the bolts. Let me show you what I was doing here. All right, so you can kind of see where I cut through the bushing right there. So I tried to cut inside of the end of that bushing. So basically I wouldn't cut into this tab here. So you can kind of see the gap I cut through right there just to leave all the metal that needs to be there. And so because I cut through that bushing, I should be able to just there we go, we're through. So now I just need to figure out how to get myself into the other side and cut that other side of the bolt. Got that out. I need to go get another Sawzall blade or several more because that is just eating through them. All right, I'm back. New saw blade. Let's see how this one does. All right, here it is. All cut out. Awesome. Now you can see the back side of this one is super rotted too. All right. It's pretty good. I just wanted to show you the inside of these frame tabs here, that they're not all marred up from the saw. They actually look pretty good. A little bit of rubber on that first side, but I'll show you over there. Yeah, so ready to reinstall the lower control arm. All right, so I'm going to put this back together, and here's my brand new control arm. And here's the brand new camber bolts that I ordered. And so I'm going to install them, and they do not fit. They're too big. And they also, if you look at the axle over here, they don't even fit through the hole right here. And if you even just look at the washer doesn't even fit in that tab. So I think they sent me the wrong size. That is the risk of ordering things online, is sometimes you don't get what you think you get. So I luckily I had to call a bunch of places. Finding parts like this for old trucks is a challenge. But I went to O'Reilly's and actually had this bolt kit, a little more expensive, but I think these are gonna work. These washers, cam washers, are 46 millimeters in diameter, which is the same size as the other ones. And yeah, now I've gotten myself a fine collection of camber bolts that I don't need, so hopefully I can return those. All right, I'm gonna try these, see how they go in. Ooh, that might be. Okay. That's wet. This. Oh yeah. Oh, this is nuts. Just want to get it viewed on a certain distance and won't go any further. Alright, I'm just going to try and get the other end of this control arm and we'll deal with that in that situation. Oh, it's different on different sides. Alright, I'm going to get a swizzle stick. Ooh, that's good on that side. Maybe? Yeah, okay. Alright, I need to lift up on this side. I'll show you. This side is not lining up. There's a new lift up right here. It's just not, it's kind of like screwing a little bit, so I'm gonna try to lift up right there and line it up. Alright, I got the jack under there. There, I think that might be what I'm needing. Oh, now I gotta get a distance too. I have, of course, no room to swing. Now I gotta adjust for length a little bit. I might need to get a ratchet strap. Alright, so here's that bolt, and it's not quite lining up as I showed you. So I need to pull the axle forward a little bit. So the ratchet strap around the axle going to the sway, actually hooked right into the frame up there. So I'm just gonna pull it forward a little bit like that and figure out how to film it. We'll see. Alright, I think I'm just gonna show you the nut. Try to move this and watch what it's doing. Oh yeah. This is giving me some trouble. That didn't move at all. Alright, so here's what I'm thinking. Because this passenger side of the truck is, and the axle is still sitting on the ground on the wheel, and this side is just hanging in the air, that this side of the axle has dropped a bit. And that's what's causing that twist, that the control arm is not twisted and is not aligned perfectly with the bolt hole. So I'm gonna try jacking up this side of the axle and see if that helps. All right, I got the ratchet strap out of there. Let's see what that does. I'm not sure this is quite lined up. Closer. Ooh, ooh. Looks like that. Yeah, it's way looser in there. It's not as twisted. There we go. There. I think we're through. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Good work, everyone. All right, I'm gonna get a nut on that before I'm gonna knock it out. Cool. So I'm not gonna tighten these up until the truck is sitting on the ground on its own weight. It's kind of how I was taught suspension. So we're just gonna leave that hand tight. But this other side, I was having trouble tightening. So the nut, you can see these little notches cut in it. There's two right there next to my finger. There's like 3 sets of these, and I think they're causing like a slight bump in the threads on the nut. And so when I get to that point, it kind of binds. So I don't know if this is like kind of a locking mechanism. So when I tighten it, it's not gonna come unscrewed. I'm gonna give it a little bit of pressure with a wrench and just see how it goes. All right, there seems to be a decent amount of upward pressure on this bolt right now, and yeah, and I need to tighten it down. Still like not turning that far. So I need basically this is like a 22 millimeter. I just have one 22 millimeter socket, so I need to go get a wrench or something so I can tighten that down. All right, so I got an adjustable wrench on this side, and I'm gonna tighten this down. I'm not gonna go super tight. I just need to keep these washers from moving around because they're kind of locating, oh jeez, the axle and this camber adjustment. All right, cool. That one is on there. Let's try another one. All right, here's the upper control arm on the driver's side. Oh yeah, cool. Let's see if that bolt will come out. That's too much. Yeah, that's gonna be fun to cut out if I have to cut that out. All right, let's see if we can get this front one out. A little tippy tappy. Ooh, yeah. Cool. All right, let's use this stick. Yes. Let's do it. Pull it out. Yeah, this other one will do it. We just stop and appreciate the fact that it's moving at all. That is a great accomplishment. All right, not stop too long now. All right, I finally got this bolt out. Basically what I had to do, like pounding on it with the brass bar was not making it go anywhere. Basically I had to put a wrench on the other end of it and twist it to get it to loosen up, and then hit it some more and then twist it again. And that's how I was able to get it out. It was like loose in there, but it would just get caught. And like I could push it back, but I couldn't go any farther without twisting it. So anyway, it's out. I've never ran into that before. But if that helps anybody, yeah, that's something that can work. All right, man, I can't believe how much these bolts have been fighting me, but I think we're ready to pull this out. Let's lift it out of there. Can't see what I'm doing. Hang up through? No. Right. Don't tell me I have to pull the cab to get the, okay. There. Ooh, yes. Cool. Got it. Wow, that was finagling. So I'm just here comparing the old control arm with the new one, and here's the bolt in the front that I had basically no problems with. And that goes in there. You can go down, see it goes down, it seats well, it goes through smoothly, and it kind of comes out no problem. You can also see how dry rotted the rubber is. When I take this bolt, and you can see like, there's kind of some lost material there, and a lot of rust. And so when I was putting this in there, it doesn't even go in easily. And I think the sleeve on this side got a bit deformed. It kind of binds up there. So anyway, I think it's good we're replacing these. But what I'm hesitant about is reusing this bolt. I think I'm gonna go buy, this is pretty easy to replace. So I'm gonna go get another one of these just with that lost material. I don't want it to seize onto this one, especially when a new bolt's pretty cheap. So I think I'm gonna go grab a new one of these. All right, I'm back, and I multiple runs to the parts store today with the new bolt, and here's the one that's gonna go in the front, and we got the new control arm, so we're gonna throw it on there. Cool. Cool. Ooh, that's looking good. That's a better, ooh, yes! Yes! Okay. Don't really know what changed, but okay. All right, cool, I think we got it. Sweet. Wow, that was a bit of a challenge. Cool. I think we're ready to put the wheel back on this side. I should get tighten those up once I set it down. My shoulders bother me today, so I'm trying to not pick up angels. That's as I'm going to use the jack to pick it up. All right, now that I got the truck sitting on the ground, the wheel back on, I'm gonna go ahead and torque those nuts. So the lower ones, you can see right there, are 140 foot-pounds, both of them, and the upper ones are 120 pounds for both. All right, so I got the driver's side on control arms, upper and lower, all done. So that's all buttoned up. I think probably the key bit of information that I didn't know, and I think would be helpful to somebody else, is basically putting a jack under the axle and kind of playing with the angle of the axle to get those bolts lined up when they need to go back in. That's otherwise, well, you can play with it fore and aft with ratchet straps, but for some reason it was kind of twisted, and like if the control arm bushing is a little bit high on one side and low on the other, you got to play with that, the kind of level of the axle to get the bolt lined up, otherwise it's not going to go in. So anyway, my piece of advice I can recommend to somebody else. So yeah, I'm just going to do the same thing on the passenger side, and this truck will be ready to go in for alignment. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.